This thrilling story begins at a time when a strange disease had spread everywhere. This disease was unleashed by a dangerous witch who wanted all humans to be wiped out. Slowly, the virus spread and started consuming humans. However, at that time, there were many soldiers who knew that as long as the witch was alive, the virus would continue spreading. So, all the soldiers decided to storm her fortress and kill her. Among them, a soldier named Claude was particularly brave. Together, they set out towards the fortress, determined to defeat the witch. When they confronted her, they forced her to reveal herself. The witch possessed immense dark powers and had the ability to destroy them all. One by one, she began eliminating the soldiers without anyone realizing. But Claude was aware of her tricks. He wielded a royal sword and confronted the witch. The witch quickly understood that Claude was not an ordinary soldier. Before the fight began, she told him something shocking: she was killing humans because their population was growing uncontrollably. If humans continued to dominate the earth, the world of witches would be completely wiped out. That was the reason she had spread the deadly virus. Claude refused to accept her reasoning and attacked her with his powerful sword. The sword had immense strength, and with it, he was able to defeat the witch. Fire engulfed the entire fortress as he delivered the final blow. However, before dying, the witch placed a curse on Claude, saying, "Even after my death, you will remain alive." The moment the witch perished, the virus disappeared as well. Time moved forward, and the present day arrived. Now, we see a modern Earth, where Claude, cursed with immortality, had adapted to human life, blending in among them. Claude was on an airplane, traveling to London. But suddenly, the atmosphere around the plane turned turbulent. When he looked outside, he realized that this was not a natural disaster but the work of dark magic. As he scanned the passengers, he spotted a witch, though not as powerful as the one he had faced before. She was using a magical stone to manipulate the environment. Without hesitation, Claude swiftly snatched the magical stones from her, preventing further chaos. After completely deactivating the magic stones, the atmosphere inside the plane returned to normal. The witch had no idea what those stones were truly capable of. Since she had acted out of ignorance rather than malice, Claude chose to forgive her and moved on. At this point, we learn about an organization called Cross, a council established to maintain peace between humans and witches across the earth. Their primary mission was to put an end to conflicts between the two sides and enforce strict rules and regulations. According to their laws, no witch was allowed to use magic on humans. Claude was a hunter who worked for this council, capturing and eliminating rogue witches who broke the rules. After leaving the plane, he went straight to meet his old friend, Priest, a senior council member who was about to retire. As a gesture of gratitude, Claude gave Priest several thoughtful gifts, which he truly deserved. Both of them shared a joyful moment, reminiscing about the past. However, tragedy struck the very next day. Priest was murdered. An investigation was immediately launched, but even Claude was puzzled. Priest was already retiring. Who could possibly want him dead just a day after his retirement? This mystery troubled Claude, and he was determined to uncover the truth. Claude, along with one of his allies, arrived at Priest's house to investigate. At first glance, everything appeared normal. But as he observed the floor carefully, he noticed dead insects scattered across the ground. His instincts told him that black magic had been used in the room. To confirm his suspicion, Claude used his special ability, sprinkling a magical liquid around the area. This liquid had the power to reveal traces of dark energy. The moment the liquid spread across the floor, strange symbols resembling stars began to form. This was all part of a dark ritual. Within moments, the entire house collapsed and was completely destroyed. Everything inside was wiped out. Claude realized that whoever had attacked Priest was an extremely powerful and dangerous witch. She had used elementary magic, an ancient form of witchcraft that hadn't been practiced for centuries. This magic had the ability to conceal everything, making it seem as if nothing had ever happened. In modern times, hardly anyone dared to use elementary magic, meaning their enemy was no ordinary foe. She was extremely dangerous. Claude knew he had to find out who this witch was at any cost. So, he went to Max, a magician he knew. Max owned a magic shop, blending in with humans while using his magic to boost his business. However, the shocking thing about Max was that he had no eyes, yet he could see everything through his magic. Claude wasted no time and asked Max if he knew about any witches who still used elementary magic. At first, Max refused to share any information. But when Claude threatened to arrest him, Max gave in and told him everything. Max revealed that a witch named Illet, one of the most dangerous witches alive, might know something. He even gave Claude Illet's address. Since this mission was extremely dangerous, Claude decided not to take his student along. He chose to go alone and face Illet himself. On his way, he saw a young child reaching for some fruit hanging from a tree. However, Claude instantly realized that those weren't real fruits, they were poisonous, magically cursed beans. Just before the child could eat them, Claude stopped him. Witches used such tricks to manipulate human minds. Once their victims were under their influence, they would lead them to their deaths. Claude quickly got the child away from danger and continued his journey. A short while later, he arrived at Illet's location. To his surprise, he saw a little girl standing there. But this girl was no ordinary child, she was none other than Illet, the powerful witch he was looking for. Illet revealed her true form and began using dark magic to attack Claude. But Claude was already prepared for this battle. Without hesitation, he captured Illet and started beating her mercilessly. Illet was completely caught off guard, she had no idea how to fight such a powerful hunter. Realizing she stood no chance, she tried to make herself appear weak and innocent. While investigating the area, Claude found something shocking, the same pen he had gifted to Priest. This discovery made him certain that Illet was somehow involved in Priest's murder. After interrogating her, Claude took Illet to the council so they could decide her fate. But he also knew that many other witches were involved in this plot. So, he urged the council to conduct a high-level investigation to uncover all the witches behind this conspiracy. However, the council members refused to believe him. They simply declared Illet guilty, imprisoned her, and started torturing her as punishment. This raised Claude's suspicion about the council itself. Something felt off. Then, he opened the pen he had given Priest, and to his surprise, the same strange insects crawled out. His mind kept returning to the same question: what were these insects, and what did they mean? Claude rushed back to Priest's body. As he examined it, he felt something strange. Priest was still alive. He wasn't truly dead but was actually infected by a virus. And not just any virus, it was the same virus that the deadly witch had created years ago to exterminate humans. But how was this possible? That witch had been killed long ago, yet this virus had somehow returned. Who had brought it back? Claude realized he had only 2 days left before the virus fully consumed Priest. After that, it would be unstoppable. As he carefully examined Priest's body, his eyes landed on Priest's blood-stained fingers. Claude suddenly had a gut feeling: before dying, Priest had tried to leave him a message. He must have left behind some clues. When Claude looked at Priest's book, he noticed that some words had bloodstains on them. When he combined those words, they formed a chilling message. Remember your death. Claude tried to focus on what this meant, but something was wrong. He couldn't recall what had truly happened during his battle with the deadly witch years ago. That final moment, how had the fight ended? It was a complete blank in his memory. This meant Claude had to recover his lost memories, at any cost. To do this, he headed to a club, a secret place where both witches and humans gathered to drink and socialize. There, he sought out a witch named Chloe, known for creating memory potions. These potions allowed a person to revisit their past and relive forgotten memories. At first, Chloe was terrified when she saw Claude. The moment the other witches and humans recognized him as a hunter, they panicked and fled the club. Despite her fear, Chloe agreed to help him. She quickly began brewing the potion. Once the memory potion was ready, Claude drank it without hesitation. In an instant, he was pulled into his own past, back to the moment when he had been fighting the deadly witch. He saw himself, wounded and on the verge of death. But before he could witness what truly happened next, something interrupted his vision. In the real world, a dangerous man named Ben entered the club. Ben's eyes looked empty, as if he were being controlled by someone else. Without warning, Ben attacked Claude, trapping him in some kind of dark spell. Then, he turned on Chloe and tried to kill her. Claude was still lost in his past memories, completely unaware of what was happening in reality. Using his dark powers, Ben set fire to the entire club and vanished. When Claude finally snapped back to reality, it was too late. The club was destroyed. He rushed to Chloe, but she was furious with him. "This is your fault," she shouted. She stormed out of the burning club. But as she stepped outside, Ben reappeared. With a sinister grin, Ben used dark magic to trap Chloe in another dimension. Claude acted quickly. He summoned his power, opened a portal, and followed her into the unknown world. And Chloe gets pulled inside. When Chloe opens her eyes, she finds herself in Clodurm. That means Clodurm saved her life by pulling her out of the Great Illusion. However, it was because of Clodril that Chloe got trapped in the first place. Chloe demands to leave, but Clodurm warns her that her life is now in danger. The witches will surely come after her to kill her. To protect her, Clodurm convinces Chloe that the best option is to stay with him. He can ensure her safety. Chloe has no other choice, so she agrees to stay with Clodurm. Clodurm then promises her that if she helps him create a memory potion that restores his lost memories, he will protect her at all costs. Chloe finds this plan beneficial and shakes hands with Clodurm. Chloe then tells Clodrum about her friend Amanda, who possesses magical plants needed to create the memory potion. Determined, Chloe leads Clodrum to Amanda. However, upon arriving, they discover a horrifying scene. Amanda has been brutally murdered by Ben. Not only that, but all the magical plants have also been destroyed to prevent the memory potion from being made. This makes Chloe suspect that someone connected to Clodrum is behind all this. But before she can focus on that, she is devastated by the loss of her best friend. Determined to avenge Amanda's death, she takes Clodrum to another witch named Danik for help. When they reach Danik, she immediately recognizes Clodrum as the hunter responsible for capturing many of her friends. Filled with rage, she ignores everything else and decides to punish Clodrum. Using her powerful spells, Danik traps Clodrum in another realm. Clodrum found himself trapped in a vision of the past, where he once lived with his wife and children. Escaping from this place was becoming extremely difficult for him, and he had no idea what was happening in the real world. Meanwhile, Danik had already instructed her allies to kill Clodrum by throwing him from a great height. However, this was when an astonishing truth was revealed. Chloe was not just an ordinary witch, but a dream walker. This meant she had the ability to enter anyone's dreams. Without wasting any time, Chloe entered Clodrum's vision and freed him from his trap, helping him regain consciousness in the real world. As soon as Clodrum regained his senses, he began eliminating his enemies one by one. The first target was Danik, the powerful witch who had trapped him. Using his abilities, Clodrum completely obliterated Danik, ensuring that she could never return. At this moment, Clodrum also learned the shocking truth about Chloe, that she was a dream walker. This meant that she did not need a memory potion to access the past. She could enter anyone's mind and relive their memories directly. Realizing this, Clodrum pleaded with Chloe to enter his mind and find out the truth about his past battle with the dangerous witch. At first, Chloe hesitated and refused multiple times. However, after much insistence, she finally agreed. Chloe immediately entered Clodrum's memories and took him along to witness the real events of that battle. They found themselves in the exact moment when Clodrum had bravely confronted the deadly witch. The witch was shown leaning against a tree, appearing to be dead, while Clodrum himself lay in an almost lifeless state. However, due to the curse, Clodrum was still alive. Shortly after, his fellow soldiers arrived to rescue him. But then, they discovered something horrifying. The witch was not actually dead. Her heart was still beating. As the soldiers attempted to destroy the witch's heart, something shocking happened. Clodrum felt the same pain. This revealed a dark truth. Somehow, Clodrum's life had become linked to the witch's heart. Now, a terrifying realization struck them all. If they destroyed the witch's heart, Clodrum would also die. Now, the soldiers knew the true value of Clodrum's life. Instead of destroying the witch's heart, they decided to hide it somewhere without telling anyone. This secret was known to the priest and some members of the council, yet no one had ever revealed it to Clodrum. The council members were betraying him, as some of them actually wanted the witch to return. There were people who sought the heart in order to revive the witch. The priest was killed because he stood in their way. Clodrum couldn't believe how many people had deceived him from the very beginning. If he had known the truth, he would have sacrificed his own life to permanently destroy the witch. But instead, he had been kept in the dark. Now, Clodrum wanted revenge on everyone who had betrayed him. His first target was Ben, as Ben was leading the effort to resurrect the witch. Meanwhile, we see Ben torturing Max. Max had revealed information about one of their members, Elite, to Clodrum. This betrayal was unacceptable, so Ben tied Max up in the roots of a tree. Then, Ben held the witch's heart in his hands and placed it on Max's body. The moment he did this, the witch began to resurrect, absorbing Max's life force and powers in the process. At first, the witch was not at full strength, but she would become unstoppable as she continued absorbing the energy of others. Shortly after, Clodrum arrived and launched a direct attack on Ben. He inflicted heavy damage, but it seemed like he was too late. Because the deadly witch had come back to life, she now stood before Clodrum and began attacking him. Clodrum found himself completely helpless against her. At that moment, the witch revealed the truth to him, what had actually happened all those years ago. When the witch had placed the curse of immortality on Clodrum, it wasn't meant for him, it was for the witch herself. Before dying, she had transferred a part of her body into Clodrum's, which meant that as long as Clodrum remained alive, the witch could never truly die. If one perished, the other would die along with them. And now, the time had come, the witch was about to be fully resurrected. For her own safety, she extracted that part from Clodrum's body, making him mortal once again. Now, if Clodrum were killed, he would truly die. At the moment, the witch was still weak and required a massive amount of energy to regain her full strength. She dealt Clodrum severe damage and then vanished into the distance. Feeling utterly devastated, Colder went straight to the priest, as the infection from the virus had now been removed from his body. The priest apologized to Colder for not telling him the truth earlier. He admitted that they had wanted things to continue as they were. Colder then revealed everything to the priest. The witch had returned, and she was growing stronger. Soon, she would unleash a deadly plague upon the world. The priest believed that, at the moment, the witch did not yet have enough power to spread the plague. But Colder had a theory: whenever the council captured dangerous witches, they never executed them. Instead, they imprisoned them in a secret dungeon. If the witch knew about this, she would surely go there, absorb their powers, and become unstoppable. Though overwhelmed with despair, Colder found solace in the priest's words. "You have defeated this witch once before, and you can do it again. And if you try, you will defeat her once again." These words gave Colder a surge of motivation, so he set out with Chloe and his student to stop the witch. They rushed to the massive prison where the witches had been locked away. However, upon arrival, they discovered that the witch had already reached the prison and was absorbing the energy of the other captives. Their bodies were floating in midair, trapped in a different reality. Chloe quickly analyzed the situation and suggested that they needed to disrupt the witch's meditation in order to stop her from succeeding in her plan. She immediately entered Elite's dreams and took him down, breaking the entire link. The witch, sensing the disturbance, vanished to avoid being found. Meanwhile, Chloe and Colder's student moved to a different part of the prison while Colder himself continued searching for the witch. As he traveled deeper into the cave-like prison, he suddenly encountered her. Without hesitation, he attacked with his sword. The witch was still weak, as her meditation had been interrupted, but she was still powerful enough to put up a fierce fight. She inflicted serious damage on Colder and eventually knocked him through the entire prison chamber, sending him crashing into the depths of the cave. Colder was on the verge of victory, he just needed to finish her off. But suddenly, his own student held a knife to Chloe's throat. It was a shocking betrayal. The student had secretly been an admirer of witches all along and had sided with the witch in exchange for a share of her power. However, he was completely drained of energy and desperate for more. Taking advantage of the distraction, the witch quickly recovered and launched another attack on Colder. This time, she trapped him in an entirely different dimension, making escape nearly impossible. But then, the witch made a terrifying discovery: Chloe was a dream walker, capable of entering minds and controlling the thoughts of all witches. Realizing the potential danger Chloe posed, the witch turned her focus toward controlling Chloe's mind instead. And with that, she began absorbing the powers of all the witches. As a result, she also started spreading the ancient virus that had existed centuries ago. The witch was now more powerful than ever. Meanwhile, we see Colder trapped in his vision. In it, his wife appears and reassures him, telling him that he is strong, that he must act with courage, and that he has the power to save everyone. The next moment, Colder snaps out of his vision, and right in front of him, he sees the stones he had originally taken from a witch. Using those stones, he gains control over the weather, summoning powerful lightning strikes. The witch notices this immediately and rushes to stop him, but it's too late. Colder is already ahead of her. With his flaming sword, he strikes the witch down, killing her. However, he knows that just defeating her isn't enough. Her heart must be completely destroyed. But doing so would mean his own death as well. Just as Colder moves forward to finish the job, Chloe stops him. She tells him that she has seen the dark world and knows that even worse enemies are waiting for his death. If Colder dies, no one will be left to stop them. After much persuasion, Colder decides to keep the witch's heart safe instead. He joins forces with Chloe, promising to fight the greater dangers that lie ahead. He also resigns from the council, realizing he can no longer trust them. And with that, our story comes to an end.